Good morning and welcome to our live crafting session this morning. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a miserable wet morning here in the UK. Really not very nice at all, but let's hope that the rain passes through and it turns out to be a nicer day. I know that Nick, one of our team members in Ireland, is expecting some rather severe weather over there, so if you're expecting any severe weather where you are, I hope that everything is okay and that you suffer no damage to your property or your family. So, good morning. A nice simple card for our Monday morning. We're back to some Christmas cards, and this is the card that I will be creating today. It uses some of our beautiful snowflake vellum, and this vellum comes as a pack in 12 by 12 inches, and there are 3 designs, and you get 3 sheets in the foil and 3 sheets that are velvet. Morning, Jeanette. Thanks for joining us. And all I've done is cut this down to fit the front of a card, and I'm using a white card underneath that seems to show the foil off in particularly, not so much the velvet paper. And the stamp set that we're using, really easy stamp set. So if you are a beginner crafter or know somebody who's a beginner crafter that wants to make some simple Christmas cards, then this would be a really good choice. You have 3 main sizes of trees, so a large, a middle and a small. And you have the outline of the tree, and then you have the detail. So this is known as a 2-step stamping, in that you use 2 different sets of stamps to make each image. Morning, Jill. Now you don't have to use both, you can use one or the other quite adequately, and this will actually be our feature for our coffee and card this week. I've got 2 designs. I'll be showing you the second one tomorrow. It's got 3 sentiments. So we've got Christmas greetings, you light up the season, and so very merry. It's got this little line of Christmas lights. You've got some snow, some snowflakes, and you've got a pole here, and then you've got trees for sale and a cute little dog. You've got the bottom of the trees. If you wanted them to be on a stand, you can use that. And then you've got these cute little paw prints. So you can use this pole here and stamp it twice, and then have the lights going across if you wish. So this is the card that we're going to make. So I have pre-cut this layer here. If you're a beginner crafter, you could literally stamp this straight onto the note card and envelope. Morning, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. And this was one of the cards that we created in our Stamper Stack at our recent Let's Get Creative. So Let's Get Creative is an all-day event that I run with 2 other demonstrators, and this was one in the Stamper Stack that we created, and it was one of the most popular ones, so that was good. So you can do this with 1 colour of ink, just stamping it off, or you can use 2 colours, so it depends on what you have in your craft stash. And also you can use really any colours of green. You could also use blue for the trees, as if they're in the moonlight. So let's get cracking. So let me show you the components that I have. So I have a basic white base card here, and one of the vellums has got this lovely dot design, which obviously looks like snow, but you could use it as anything. Hope you can see that foiling on there. Really is pretty. So that's going to go just onto there, and then I'm using this layer which has been cut with the Scallop Contours dies. If you've been following me for a while, you know that's one of my favourite sets, because not only does it have a nice outline, it has this really pretty stitched edge, and there's three different ones that are in that same sort of vein in different sizes. And then this is going to go in the centre of my card. Let's pop these layers away for a minute, and I am bringing in my stamping mat just because they're photopolymer. My table is nice and flat, but if you have an older kitchen table or a table that's got any sort of ridges or anything in it, you do need something to cushion the stamp if you're using photopolymer. You could use a mouse mat. We do sell this piercing mat, but you could use something like a turned over mouse mat as an improvisation. So I'm going to use 2 sizes of tree. So I've got the large one, and I think I've got the small one or the medium, not quite sure. Let's have a look. I've got the large and the medium. On my sample here I've actually used all 3, the large, the medium and the small. So ideally you can use 2 different colours of ink pad. You want a darker one and a lighter one. And if you don't have that, you can use 1 ink pad and stamp it off. So I'll show you how to achieve that look. But for my actual card I am going to use the 2. But let me show you just on a piece of scrap grid paper how you could get the same effect. So this is my Pear Pizzazz. And I'm just going to leave that there to make it easier. And you have 2 trees. You have a larger outline and the detail. And my recommended way of trying to remember which should be dark and which should be light is the more stamp you've got, the less ink you need, so the lighter colour. The smaller stamp you have, the more ink you need, because that's the detail. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this. So this is Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to stamp this twice. Okay, so this is if you don't have 2 colours of ink. So I've stamped it once, and I'm going to stamp it again to get a lighter tree. And then I'm going to use the detail one with the Pear Pizzazz. Hi Sue, I hope you're well. So this is the detailed stamp, and I'm just going to stamp it straight on top of that one there. Hopefully you can see that. I'll bring that up. So if you only have 1 green, that's what you want to do. You want to ink it up like so, and then stamp it onto your card to get the lighter colour, and then take your detailed one and stamp it over the top. Now I haven't bothered really aligning this up, I'm just stamping it roughly in the middle. There is a perfect placement, but to be honest, there's enough detail on there for you to be able to see the 2 layers, and that's all that's important. If I just bring that up, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so if you're trying to remember which way round, more stamp, less ink, less stamp, more darker ink. Okay, so I've actually got soft sea foam that I'm going to use for my lighter layer, And it also doesn't matter which way round you stamp this. Generally I stamp the darker first because it's easier then to look through the stamp to put the lighter layer on, but because in this case this stamp is bigger, I just want to get my placement. So I'm going to use soft seafoam for my sort of background trees, and I'm going to pop this one in the front, or in the middle I should say. I'm leaving space underneath for my sentiment. Like so. And then I'm going to use my smaller tree on either side. Just want to stamp that down. I haven't pressed it on the block very well. There we go. So I'm just going to put one either side. And it doesn't really matter if it overlaps. Morning, Nick. There we go. So just stamped it either side. Now I'm going to take my darker ink. So in this case Pear Pizzazz, but really just use any greens you've got. So if you've got shaded spruce, mossy meadow, old olive, evening evergreen, any of those, any green really will work for this, even granny apple green to be honest. Right, so now I've got my detailed stamp, so less stamp, darker ink, and so this is my Pear Pizzazz. Morning, Fran. Oh, I haven't taken my glasses off. I was wondering why I was struggling a little bit. So there's my darker layer going on top, like so. And I'm going to do the same with the other stamp. So say you really don't have to be precise with your layering. Okay, it's really not critical at all. So if I lift that up, hopefully you can see those three layers, the two layers there. And then I can add a sentiment, and I've got some little snowflakes at the top. And there's snowflakes and there's a snow stamp. And I'm just using balmy, oh no, I'm not, I'm using Pool Party because my balmy blue is packed ready for coffee and card. And this has got three little snowflakes that I'm just going to pop in here, and I'm just turning the stamp around, although they're fairly well spaced anyway. Like so. Let's put another one up here. Like that. I'll lift that up. So that's Pool Party, but again, you could use any blue, and you could use the snow here if you wanted to. Okay, all I need now is a nice sentiment at the bottom, and let's see what I've got. Oh, I could use, not sure the Christmas greetings will actually fit on my small panel here. Yeah, it's a little bit tight to fit in the stitching. You could use the, just want a simple, and of course I packed all my Christmas greetings. Let me see. Sorry everyone. This Merry Christmas might fit. Let's have a look. I know it'll fit in the width. Yeah, that will work. I would normally choose something slightly smaller so that it's more in keeping. This Christmas Wishes comes from the Leaves of Holly stamp set. But I think that will still work. Let's grab a block for that. There we go. And just going to do that in Pear Pizzazz. Keep it nice and simple. So it's not exactly very Christmassy weather out there. It's very dull, it's wet. Yes, not very nice. Okay, let's have a little practice just on here. Just want to get that fairly straight. So just stamping that at the bottom. There it goes, my Merry Christmas in the same colour. So you could do, with the exception of the snowflakes, you could do this all with just one colour of ink. So if you're a beginner crafter or you're crafting with someone and you haven't got huge amounts of supplies, you could stamp this literally straight onto a note card. Because our note cards are slightly bigger than that, and just literally do it with one colour of ink if you wanted to, and then you could add some dots in for the snowflakes if you want. So I have got a little bit of bling that I can add. Oh, 22 degrees, that's so not fair. I think we were 10 degrees yesterday. So I've got assorted bling, so I've got this, these festive red gems, which always look really nice, and the ones that I used on here were these festive pearls, which has got red, gold, green and blue, silver, red, blue, silver and gold. You can tell it's Monday morning, for which I apologise. Okay, let's just pop a few of these on here and then we'll pop the card together. So you could put them on the tops of the trees if you wanted to, or I'm just going to pop a few in there as if they're lit up. So there we are. So 2 each on the smaller ones, and then I pop 3 on the larger one. There we go, so that's our basic card created. Let's just pop this together. So I've got a white card base, which is our basic white thick card. And I've got the vellum that I mentioned earlier on. So if you've joined in after the start, this is our snowflake vellum, and it has snow, but it also has snowflakes here. Hopefully you can see in the background. And I'm just going to pop that on there, and you could use whichever method you want. I've got some tape to hand, so I'm going to use some tape today, and because it's going to be covered over, you don't have to worry about the glue. But our Snail and Snail Plus is very good for vellum. If it's going on light coloured card, you can use that and it won't show through. So just going to pop this on, and I've cut this yes, I thought that was a bit big. That's not quite cut to size. So this should be 14.85. And then the card, the vellum I've cut to 14.35 by 10. So it's just got a little border around it. Oh, okay, Jill. I hope that's in the nicest possible way. I hope it's only at your end and not everyone, not my end. And then this layer can go on the top, and you could use dimensionals or you could keep it flat. So if you want to make sure that in the postage you're under our 2.5 millimeters, then I can just pop this on flat. So just for a change, I'll use some tape. Oh, jolly good. Might be at Jill's end. I mean, the weather here is so bad that it can affect, obviously, the internet reception. Okay, just pop a little across the middle, and then lift the tape. Three, and pop that down. You can either have it in the centre or you can have it slightly higher centre. There we go. And then just to finish off, you can stamp your envelope to coordinate. And so I can stamp, just pop this one back on. So remember, the bigger the stamp, more stamp, less ink. So I'm going to use the lighter colour on this one, and I'm just going to do one here and the lighter one next to it, the smaller one rather. Like that. And then using my darker colour just for the detail. Just to finish it off. One, two, and that's it. So a nice simple card to get us started at the beginning of the week. And if you want to, you can re-stamp the background one sort of in between the two. It's very, very light, but it does give a nice sort of background effect. And there we are, we're done. Oh, thank you, Jill. That's perfect. We'll have 3 sets this afternoon. So this is what we're creating at Coffee and Card this afternoon. So I hope you like the design. Very simple. As I say, if you're a beginner crafter, you could buy the stamp set and a pack of note cards and envelopes and literally just a green ink. And apart from doing these little stars, you could use gems for that, for the snowflakes rather. You could create this card on a simplified version very quickly and easily. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good rest of day. Stay safe, Nick, over in Ireland, because I know you've got some nasty weather forecast over there. And it's miserable here, but it's fairly still, so we're not in for anything, hopefully, too nasty later. So thank you for joining me. Let me just bring that back up to the screen so you can see it. This is my original design, just using different greens. So there we go, a nice simple Christmas card to get you started. No doubt some of you will have already finished your Christmas cards and probably Christmas gift purchasing and even wrapping. That's not me, as you might gather. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Do take care. I'll see some of you at Coffee and Card this afternoon. Look forward to that. And then I'll be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m, for our next round of crafting. Thank you so much for joining me. Do take care. Thanks for watching. And have a great day ahead. Bye for now.